So, hi Phumi, welcome. Thanks for joining me today. Let's start with a quick intro about yourself. Can you share a little bit and also your carnivore journey? Tell me how it all started.
Thank you so much, Joseph, and thank you for having me on your channel. So I'm usually known as Carnivore Cutie Phumi, and I am from Zimbabwe, but I live in the UK. I'm currently 34 years old, and I have been on a health journey since my very early 20s because I spent most of my life trying to figure out what was wrong with my body. I was always the one person in the family who had health issues that no one could understand. So my main health issue throughout my life was that I've always had painful menstrual cycles. And the second one that also plagued me my whole life and very prominent to me only in my family was that I could eat the same meal as everybody else in my family, and I would be the one to be very dizzy after an hour or two after eating, even after eating the same amount as everybody else, the exact same meal. And so I always had to carry food around with me wherever I went because I would just feel so weak, unstable, dizzy all the time, no matter what I ate. And so when I reached my 20s and I started working and was finally able to choose what I do with my time and my money, I spent all of it on visiting doctors, dietitians. I even did some TCM trying to fix these issues. I spent so much money. I've seen everyone. I've tried every remedy. Nothing helped either of the two issues that I had. No matter what diet I tried, no matter what period remedy I tried, nothing helped me. And up to the point where I realized, okay, the only thing I haven't tried is going plant-based. I never wanted to go plant-based because I like meat, but I was so desperate to find an answer after living in pain for more than 25 years because I got my cycle really early in my life. And once you reach, even 10 years of pain is too much, but 25 years was just, it was hell on earth. And so I thought, okay, the only thing I haven't tried is going vegan, so let me do that. And the surprising thing that happened, despite all the pain that I'd been in, I thought I had reached the maximum level of desperation, pain, and hell. But then the vegan diet actually made my cycle worse. It was so unexpected. I never imagined that happening, but I'd always had debilitating pain. But when I went vegan, I developed PCOS, which is polycystic ovarian syndrome. And that pain took it to another level. And not only is it painful, it makes your cycle irregular. It makes you gain weight. You become more manly as a woman, and there's just nothing worse than that. So it was just a very terrible time. And thank goodness I realized that the diet was not working for me after 8 months. Some people stay on the vegan diet much longer and they end up losing their cycles completely. So I'm glad that I chose after 8 months that, okay, it doesn't seem to be working. And then after the vegan diet didn't work for me, I was really sad that I had tried the ultimate diet and it hadn't worked for me. That's what I felt and that's what I thought. I really had so much hope that going plant-based was the answer because that's what the research tells you, that's what the media tells you, that's what everybody tells you, that going plant-based is so healthy and so good for you. And they tell you it's anti-inflammatory and all these things. But then once again, my body did not respond in the expected way. And then about a year after I stopped being vegan, actually before that, as I said, I was sad, but I was also angry that it didn't work. And so I went back to eating how I'd always eaten. I started having dessert every day because I was looking for happiness. I was just so upset that it hadn't worked. And so I went back to sugar. Not that the vegan diet doesn't include sugar, but I piled the sugar on because I was just looking for some joy in my life. And then I felt even worse, of course, because that's obviously going to happen. And so I decided maybe I shouldn't have dessert every day. And then one day I was in the grocery store, and usually I would be in the shops looking for fruit because I used to have fruit for breakfast, followed by a chia seed pudding. And so I was in the grocery store, and something said to me, stop buying fruit. And I didn't know why I felt like that. And so I didn't buy as much fruit as I usually would buy on that day. And I went home and I started Googling, is fruit sugar as damaging as refined sugar? Is it the same? Are all sugars the same? Things like that. And the conclusion I came to after Google and YouTube videos, and I don't remember what I watched, but the conclusion that I came to was that yes, fruit sugar is also damaging, the same as refined sugar is damaging. So you should just cut out fruit. You should cut out carbs. YouTube started recommending keto videos to me. And I had seen keto videos before, but I never watched them before because I did not want to cut out carbohydrates from my life because I loved carbohydrates. And I thought that that's what keeps me alive. And I believed that that's what gives me energy. And so I'd never really researched keto. But that day I had to, because if I'm cutting out fruit, then okay, what else do I need to cut out? So I started watching the keto videos, and I was convinced, okay, I need to try keto. Maybe this is going to work this time. But by the end of the day, YouTube recommends videos that go even deeper. And so I started to see carnivore videos. And those carnivore videos were unlike any other videos or people I'd ever seen. Everyone looked so happy. Everyone looked so healthy. And it sounded so good. And reading the testimonials in the comments was just crazy for me. And I didn't even get a chance to try keto in the end because I realized, okay, I need to go all the way. I thought I'd gone all the way with vegan, but clearly there was something else. And so I decided to go carnivore from that day, and I cut out everything.
That's awesome. Your story is very inspiring. I think 25 years of pain, and then like all of a sudden like changing, like just because of the carnivore itself, the diet. That's amazing. I've been wanting to ask you actually, before you went carnivore, what was your favorite food?
Oh my gosh, anything carbohydrate. Potatoes, I loved fries, I loved roast potato, I loved rice. Rice was my thing. Like a good day was a rice day. Um, I loved chocolate. Yeah, basic. I was more of a savory girl than a sweet girl. So if you just put potato on my plate, I felt complete.
I see. That's awesome. Yeah, me too. Rice was a big one, but I didn't have any problem like converting to like no rice at all. But yeah. um, so yeah, go ahead.
It's funny that, we felt like we can't live without it. And then you do it and you're like, oh, this is not so bad.
That's so true. Yeah, I thought it was gonna be a big challenge too, but no. Yeah.
Exactly.
So yeah. Looking back at the start of your carnivore journey, like was there any mistake you made, or how did you learn from them?
I think I used to undereat when I was first carnivore. As much as I was, you know, eating high fat, I think a lot of new carnivores try to do the one meal a day because everybody else is doing it and you think that that's the right carnivore way. But I soon found out that I was under eating, and I found that I would get really hungry in the night if I had my one meal a day at around 12 o'clock. And if you're hungry in the night, you don't sleep well. And so thankfully, I realized that I was not eating enough. And so I started to have 2 meals a day. And once I increased my meals from one meal to 2 meals, then everything fell into place. I I started to feel stronger and more nourished, and I started to sleep much better. And your strength also increases, like if you're working out and all of that. And yeah, there's just no need to deprive yourself on carnivore, and you don't have to stick to the one meal a day thing that everyone believes we have to do. I also think that being a woman plays a part in that 2 meal a day thing. And I find it unfortunate when people try to stick to this 1 meal a day because they see it as a carnivore rule. It's not a rule.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think with carnivore, like now, because I have a big appetite, like even when I switched to carnivore, but it went away after like more than a year. So,
Okay.
yeah. Mhm. Um, have you ever had a moment of doubt, like in the beginning of your journey with carnivore?
Yes, I had a moment of weakness. So I think it was a month or two into carnivore. I think my blood sugar dropped very low, and I knew from my past that the only thing that's gonna like revive me is to have something sweet. And so I had some blueberries and I felt better. And when that happened, I thought to myself, oh my gosh, carnivore's not working. I actually do need carbs. And I was, worried and concerned. But I soon realized that I think I hadn't eaten enough on that day. Once again, like I said, it was the beginning. And I immediately reached for carbs to fix the problem. I think if I had had like something fatty, I probably would have been okay. I
Mhm.
don't know. But on that day, I reached for blueberries. And I even made a video on my channel saying I felt funny. I had some blueberries. That's what made me feel better. But I probably should have tried having some fat first to see the truth. But the good news is that has never happened again. I've never felt this dip ever again. So I don't know if it was because it was only like 60 days in maximum. I have no idea. But that was my moment of doubt. But ever since then, I've felt better than I've ever felt. And I haven't had the need to have carbs or fruit at all.
Mm. Oh, nice. So you made it. You just like went on with it. Just wait for a little bit and see what happens. I see. Was this the same moment, like when you kind of like almost gave up, or just like maybe changing your mind? I guess this is the moment of that, right? Were you like about to give up when this happened?
No, I was never going to give up because I didn't even mention yet. But after the first month of carnivore, my cycle didn't require painkillers to handle, and so that was the ultimate sign of healing for me. That's when I knew carnivore was working. And so when I needed the blueberry, I didn't want to quit carnivore, but I thought, oh, maybe I should go keto, maybe I shouldn't. I had that, which one should I do? But then once I went back on track with carnivore, I felt fine, and it's like I said, it's never happened again. So yeah, I've never doubted it again.
That's awesome. Um, can you walk me through like I guess I would say like a typical day or maybe even the week? Like what does your eating look like? Do you keep up like pretty consistent with your meal, like the same every day, or do you change it up, mix things up?
So I get bored very easily. So I eat something different every day and every single meal. So I'll explain today. It's a good example of how bored I can get. So I just had my meal, my lunchtime meal, my first meal of the day. I had scrambled eggs, I had smoked salmon, I had T-bone, and I had lamb ribs all in one meal. And that's what keeps me going because I've always been a tapas lover, and that's my version of having tapas in the carnivore diet, having a little bit of this, that, and the other. But I do also have, the boring carnivore meals like ground beef, some eggs, bacon, simple stuff. It's not always like that every day, but I love variety. Sometimes I'll have chicken wings. Sometimes it'll be, I don't know, some pork of some kind, whatever is possible. I love organs as well. So sometimes it'll be beef heart, um, chicken livers, beef liver, whatever it is, what if as long as it's meat, I'm having it. I also love seafood, so sometimes I have sashimi. I found a UK sashimi supplier, which was like heaven on earth because now I can have that at home at a fraction of the price. So yeah, it's a whole lot of variety, but on a normal day, it'll be like mince in the morning and then maybe chicken wings at night because I find that at night I don't have to eat as much as in the morning. So it can be something a bit lighter. But I prefer to start the day with beef because beef or lamb is the most anti-inflammatory and makes me feel better than anything else. I don't think I could have chicken in the morning and have like a great day ahead. I think I'd still feel hungry.
That's awesome. I like sashimi too, and you got a supply, and which is good, like for the fraction of the price. Yeah. Um, what is the most unconventional thing, or like, have you ever tried something like unconventional within the carnivore framework?
Um,
I guess,
yes,
yeah.
raw meat. I think well, for some it's unconventional, for some it's
Raw
kind of
meat.
normal. So depending on who you're speaking to, but I think the most unconventional thing for me was to try raw meat. Until I was carnivore, I thought raw meat was uncivilized and disgusting. And now I actually enjoy it and I see the benefit of it. And yeah,
Mhm.
that would be the most unconventional thing.
That's awesome. Um, what is the hardest thing about being carnivore for you? For me, like example is going to be the social gatherings. Like I think my friends starting to back off from me now because being carnivore, not a lot of people want to be around you. Travel and also cravings in the beginning. What about you? What's the hardest thing for you?
Um, I would agree that the social aspect can be difficult, but it depends on who you're around. Like, if it's people like in your family, I think family is the hardest. I think friends are easier. I think your family takes your decisions more personally. But for me, the hardest is when I'm craving a certain meat and it's not in the fridge. And then I need to go out and get it. I know that's crazy, but I don't know if men experience this, but as a woman, you'll still have cravings. And if I want lamb and there's no lamb in the fridge, it makes me upset. The same way, if you wanted cake and there's no cake, you would go out and get it. So, yeah, my carnivore cravings are the hardest.
I can relate to that. We also have our cravings. Yeah.
Okay.
Um, you know, besides the hardest thing, so you talk about your journey and like, has this way of eating like helped you uncover something about yourself like you didn't know before? I guess this is more on the emotional side. Could also be the challenge.
That's a deep question.
Mhm.
Um,
I know, right?
well, I know you've heard of the carnivore calm, that you just feel so emotionally and mentally stable. I'm not saying I was unstable before, but you just feel
Yeah.
like you're at peace in the world. You feel like nothing is wrong because you've fixed your diet. I think the burden of trying to fix my health issues, all the money and the time I spent and experts I saw, that stress is gone. So like I feel like a new person because now my identity is not I'm fixing my health. Now I can actually be who I am and who I was always supposed to be and not trying to fix this thing that was burdening me so much. For example, I was able to start my YouTube channel and it's going well and better than any other social media I've ever tried before. And it's probably because I have the emotional space and the physical energy to do it. And because I feel healthy and good and my brain is functioning well, thanks to the fat of the diet. And I've actually said in previous videos that I think I was starving before I was carnivore because my diet was so low in fat and fat has really changed my life.
That's awesome. I like that you have a community now, your own community with the carnivore that you can pretty much, get yourself like as a backup, like as a support group. That's awesome. I think I need something like that too. Yeah. So like, what emotion or like feeling come up for you when you think about your transformation?
I think I just feel at peace. That's the emotion I have, peace, because there's so many things that carnivore took away. It's not just about food somehow. Yeah, I've tried other diets, but they haven't given me what carnivore has done. I'm at peace. My body's at peace. My mind is at peace. My life is at peace. It just takes away so many stressors. I don't have to stress about what I'm going to cook. I don't have to stress about how long it's going to take because everything is quick. You just make the meat and that's it. And it doesn't take long. And even if you're doing like a pressure cooker meal, you just put the meat in there and you leave it. So just logistics are also so much less and it's just a peaceful feeling.
Yeah, I totally agree. It's like so convenient, like time saving, especially peace. Yeah, it gives me a peace of mind too. um,
Exactly.
how has carnivore changed the way you? Yeah. How has carnivore changed the way you see yourself now, or the way you approach life in general?
So I again, the fact that I'm not having to work on myself and try different supplements and see a different professional who's going to just drain me of money and time has shown me that our bodies are meant for good health and suffering is not our destiny. I always knew it, but it's different when you achieve it because now I can say it because I'm here. Before I believed it. I was like, there's no way we're here for this. And now I feel like, okay, I can actually speak about this because I've achieved it.
Hmm, nice. Um, okay. So, if you had to describe the impact of this lifestyle in one word, what would it be and why?
I just say that it is like they call it the proper human diet. So the impact is that you won't have to look behind the plastic or the box of the food that you're buying to decipher whether the ingredients are healthy or not. That just goes away because there's no box and there's no packet to look at anymore. You're not eating ultra processed food. And sometimes it's not even ultra processed. You're not having any processed food at all. And it's not even food. So the impact is that you'll eat real nourishing food whether you try to or not, because that's all that you're buying. And so every meal that you have is good for you, unlike when you're buying Doritos or Oreos, you have a moment of toxicity in your body. And now we just don't have that.
Yeah, totally agree. Um, so I guess looking back in your journey, the biggest you've learned, the biggest thing the biggest lesson you've learned that you want to share to everyone.
Okay, the biggest lesson I've learned is that I was so deceived by everything that I tried before. Uh, Trying to fix your hormones as a woman is the toughest thing ever, because there's no information, because there's no research on women's hormones. And even if there is research, that research is to try to make money out of you or to try to make you suffer the most. I don't know why. I don't know what anyone gets out of this, but the information is just so backward. Some of it is deceptive. It's so wrong. For example, when I was trying to balance my hormones, I would take this supplement, I would do this protocol, I would do that, and I was attacking each hormone individually. For example, when I had estrogen dominance, I was trying to lower my estrogen. When I had low progesterone, I was trying to increase my progesterone. But what Carnivore taught me is that when you fix your insulin and you become insulin sensitive instead of being insulin resistant, you don't have to do anything else. Everything in your body just fixes itself and balances itself. There's no supplement you need to take, there's no pill you need to take. All you have to do is cut out sugar and carbohydrates, at least for 90 days. Give your body the break that it's been dying for, and literally everything fixes itself. My cycle is pain free. The PCOSs are gone. I fixed my blood sugar issues to the extent that I can now do fasted workouts, something that was never possible in my life before. I just feel like it's a new body, which it is probably.
Yeah, yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, I guess I just wanted to share this. I do have the same perspective. Like, also, like, I think I asked you earlier about, like, what are your doubts? Like, during the carnivore journey. I think, like, for me, the same. Like, I have a doubt. Like, is this all what it takes, really? Like, just a simple, like, changing the way I live, and then, I mean, the way I eat, and then that's it. It fixed my elbow. It cleared my skin. I don't know. Sometimes I doubt it. It's like, is it really this simple? Yeah.
I know.
But yeah. If you could give one piece of advice to someone just starting, what would it be?
I would say don't restrict yourself from eating. You need to nourish your body. And I think a lot of us are coming from eating habits where we would restrict ourselves, whether it was the calories that you are intaking per day, or if it was how many meals you eat per day, or the size of the plate. I mean, some women would literally buy smaller plates so that they eat less. So every time someone is new to carnivore, I always say treat yourself with every meat that you love. Eat it and eat it and eat it and enjoy it. And don't be afraid of gaining weight, because that fat is good for you. It will nourish you. And you've got lots of catching up to do, especially if you've come from a low fat diet or a no fat diet like me. We That fat is the best thing that you could give yourself, and so you shouldn't deprive yourself of it. Have bacon, especially if you've come from the the thoughts that I used to have about bacon and pork, which was that it's full of toxins and parasites. But I found that that fat is probably the most satiating out of all the meat. And that's just what you need if you've been depriving yourself of food from disordered patterns of eating or whatever deprivation you're coming from and just enjoy it. They call it the priming stage in the carnivore space. So prime your body, give it everything that you haven't been giving it, and enjoy, because meat is there to be enjoyed, and you just don't have to count numbers and just eat.
Yeah, that's incredible. Um, just a future perspective question. How do you see carnivore movement in the next 5 to 10 years? Like, I guess, like, where do you see the carnivore lifestyle and the community going into the future? Are there any like positive and negative side? Um, as an example, sorry for the long loaded question. Like for me, like negative side would be um, censorship. Maybe that because false information, something like that, and also positive side would be more people joining in the community, learning about this lifestyle, the way of eating, the correct way of eating. Yeah.
So I'll start with the negative, and that is that lately there's been a lot of well-known carnivores who are, switching back to keto or changing their carnivore stance. I think it's kind of demotivating for especially newbie carnivores like me, because I'm like, well, if they're quitting, what's my future? But I think everyone just has to listen to their bodies, and if those people feel like that's the right decision for their body, who are we to say that it's not? As much as we believe that carbs are, detrimental to your health, if someone's labs are saying the opposite and they believe that adding back carbs is what they need to do, I think we all have to respect that. And I think some people in the carnivore space haven't respected people's own bodily autonomy, which I don't like that, because the same way I had to try vegan to get to my truth is the same way I want people to try what they have to try to get to their truth as well. I wouldn't have found carnivore if I hadn't gone vegan. So anyone who hates on me for trying vegan at all does not understand that I would have never found carnivore if I hadn't gone the wrong path. And so we have to let people have their journeys. And the positives about carnivore in the future is that lots of people are finding it outside of America. I found that there's a lot of carnivores in America, and around the world, it's rare to find somebody else who's on this way of eating. And since I started my channel, I've had people from all over the world in the comments, especially Africans, saying that they are carnivore, but they're undercover because, it's so controversial. So I'm hoping that I will start a community for people to feel safe, and also to feel like they're not alone in this journey, especially when they're not American or not from the UK. Or let me just say, not from the West, because anyone outside of the West doing carnivore seems to be really afraid to say so, because there's lots of backlash from my culture, from your culture too. I mean, you mentioned rice. I can imagine that was your cultural dish. And we also have the same. We have our cultural dishes, and it's so difficult to navigate and get people to understand that if you go into the history, these things were actually not our culture. They were introduced to us at some point. I don't know about rice for you guys, but for us, the carbohydrates that we believe as our culture are actually not even indigenous to Africa. They actually come from Mexico. But telling someone that is going to be the biggest cognitive dissonance that they'll ever go through. And the same way it took ages for us to find carnivore, it's probably going to take a while for them too. But at least with people like me and you, who are people of color and we're thriving on the diet, the more we publicize that we are eating this way, I think the more comfortable people will get, and they'll be less afraid to try.
Yeah, definitely. I totally agree with you on that. Yeah, rice is a staple in because I'm from Philippines, and so I'm always looking for Filipino carnivores, and I don't really find a lot. so so like you said, not in the West, and it's just hard. Like looking, I probably have to go like a haystack and then a needle in a haystack. But yeah, um, if people want to reach out or follow you, where's the best place to connect with you?
So I'm on all the social medias that you like. I have a Facebook page, which is Carnivore QT Pumi. I have Instagram, which is Carnivore QT8. I have TikTok, Carnivore QT8. I have my YouTube channel, which is Carnivore QT Pumi. And of course, you can reach out to me via email, which is carnivore.qt8@gmail.com.
That's awesome. Um, I'm very impressed with your story. Thank you so much again, Pumi, for joining me today. I really enjoyed hearing your story and learning more about your journey as a whole. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Joseph.